Yeah, have a shot, mate. Have whatever you need to get you through it. So we're live now. It's hi everyone. It's me again, the Grey Man. I'm joined by Roger DiCarlo from Cruella, Portland's speed and power
Yeah.
metal finest. And we're gonna have a few drinks and chat about mostly about Cruella, but definitely we can bring in some of your other bands that you can talk about as well. But let's start off with the what's that you're drinking there? What's that you got there? Firewater? Tequila?
Yeah. Drink.
What is it? Tequila?
Drink to heavy metal, Oregon, and you're in England, brother.
Yeah. you're gonna have a few during the course of the show.
You know, Graham, I can hear you. I have to put my face closer to. I wish I had like headphones.
That's a shame. Well, I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to let you do the talking because you're going to tell us all about Cruella. Let's start with that.
We started here.
Let me put you full screen.
This picture was taken February of 1986.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I'm in the front there.
Yeah.
I'm the guy you could throw darts at and get a great shot. You know, we formed a 5-piece, but actually Cruella formed, Graham. I was in a band called X-Sinner. I have to mention X-Sinner first because two great guys, Sean and Tony. This is in 83, 84. We were a 5-piece. We were like a raw Scorpions, Judas Priest, Chug Chug. You know, we were intricate. We were kind of basic, but we had a really charismatic singer, Tony Sayers. He was like Bon Scott. And I was a terrible guitar player, but they loved me. I had the vibe, the charisma, the personality. I had everything, but I couldn't play. I mean, I was good enough, but I couldn't play. And I was in this band. We lived together, and Sean and Tony got tragically killed, Graham. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And it destroyed, it crushed lives. It changed the paths of lives. It was incredible. It was here in Portland, Oregon. I was 24 years old. It was horrible. I was only in the band for a year and a half. I was the 5th member. We were a 5-piece. Sean he loved Michael Schenker, UFO. I mean, all the best bands, Graham, are from England. Okay, we'll get to that, but he loved Michael Schenker.
Yeah.
We were making a name for ourselves. We played with the Wild Dogs. You remember the Wild Dogs?
Can't say that I do remember them.
So they get killed.
Oh, you're frozen. Oh, no. Can you hear me? It's frozen. That's awkward. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with Rogers. He's dropped out. Are you still there, mate?
Yeah, I hear you, man. This internet crap. We're 10,000 miles away. But X-Sinner, I was in the band a year and a half.
How did they die? How did they die? Was it that car accident or something?
And I tell you, I mean, when they got killed, I had to continue on. I wasn't going to give up for my friends.
Yeah.
And that's when Cruella, 1985, because the accident happened November of 84. And then, I meet these guys, And we're a 5-piece. I meet drummer Dave and Kirk and Kate, and she wanted to call the band Cruella. Rick, she wanted to call the band Cruella. She was into this. She wanted the demon vampire woman.
Yeah. Well, it's like Cruella from 101 Dalmatians, isn't it?
Well, we took the idea from there, dropped the DeVille.
Yeah.
But singer Rick, believe it or not, he wanted to call the band Jack the Ripper. J.T. Ripper. Rick, Rick had the top hat. He wanted to call it J.T. Ripper. And I tell you, sometimes the name of a band can make or break you, even if the music is great or not. Because shit, in the 80s, if your music was great in the 80s and your name sucked, people didn't like you. You remember that crap.
Yeah, image is a lot to do with most music, isn't it? Most bands, image is a heck of a lot of it.
So Cruella is born. We did the demo tapes. And we had some of those demo tapes. They were terrible. And we got going. Every time we went in the studio, it was like going to school, recording, And then, me, we have these tapes and these terrible band pictures, like in jail pictures. And we write this bio. We have these cassette tapes. And we had fanzines. There's no internet. We had magazines. And I'm mailing these tapes out to anybody. I'm mailing these little stupid promo packs. And a guy in Germany takes interest. Oh, I need some booze, man. Can you get me, Elizabeth's here. Can you get me that? Elizabeth. So the guy in Germany, man, he gives us a great deal. $3,000. He goes, I like the music. And we go in the studio, Graham. We do The Vengeance Is Mine. Oh, can you get my glass, please? Say hi.
Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing? What are you drinking there?
I got the Jack Daniels Cherry Limeade. It's some new stuff. I'll show it to you. I got this other Jack Daniels. I'm tired of beer and whiskey. I got a cup with ice in it. See, I got a cup with ice. But so the guy in Germany does the record, and we spend, believe it or not, he gives us $3,000. We go to a 24-track, and it costs $3,000. There was no way of skimming it and making some money. And then we mail it off. It gets great reviews. Remember the Metal Forces magazine?
Yeah, that was a British magazine, wasn't it? It was one of the good magazines back in the day. Much better than fucking Kerrang, which was a pile of shit as far as I was concerned. But Metal Forces is a great mag.
Well, Metal Forces in England gave a stellar review. Loved it. And,
is this the first album you're talking about? Is this the album or one of the demos?
It was the Vengeance Is Mine record. I got a copy of it here. I didn't trash it. I got the original. I got two left. The original German release.
Cool. They put you on full screen. Well, is the woman, the picture with the woman there? Because she's kind of like, is she like a bit of an image, like a bit of a mascot for you? The woman face there, the vampire woman. Is she like a mascot for Cruella?
I guess you could call her the mascot, like Eddie would be to Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I love this picture. This is the cool one.
Yeah, the new album. Yeah. We're jumping ahead a bit with the new album. Yeah, it's kind of like sort of like the same woman, but not. But yeah, but close enough to be almost a mascot.
Anyway, we had artwork. The guy who did the artwork, he didn't want to do the full release. He wanted too much money.
It's always about the money.
And that's why it became Rampage. But anyways, wait a minute. We were talking about, so Vengeance is Mine does great. Great reviews. We were going to go to England and play the little college town concert. I mean, we were going to go to England.
Yeah.
We were so excited, dude. I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. You're drinking tequila?
I'm on beer. Bishop's Finger.
I got, all right, here. I got Jack Daniel's Punch.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Well, it's a hot day where you are, isn't it? So, might as well. You're on the beach, yeah?
We're 3 minutes away from the beach.
Well, that calls for punch then, I say. Jack Daniel's Punch. If you're near the beach, Jack Daniel's Punch makes sense.
I got some beach shells here. I should send you some. Look, they're agates and shells. I'll mail you some. We make them. You can't see them. What's wrong with the picture?
You're only on half the screen. That's all right.
Can you see them?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just about. I'll put you on full screen.
I can't.
There you go. Is that a dog? You're like a dog.
Well, I'm glad you can't see my track marks.
No,
no, that's terrible. We picked these shells, agates here. I'll mail you some.
Okay, mate.
I'll mail you some. I got. Do you want any more? I got like 30 Rampage CDs left.
If you want to send them, I can always find somebody who'd want them. I'm sure.
Well, I'll mail you a box. I'm going to get it together. But there's only 2 of these left. But the original album does really good, okay? And then get a load of this. We lose our singer, Rick, because our bass player, Rob, excellent bass player, like a jazz, Geddy Lee bass player, but he's a heavy metal bass player. We want to be Coroner. So
okay.
Kate is gone. Kate had to go, and we had some changes. And when you could go from 5 to 4 to 3, that's 2 less people you got to deal with. That's 2 less drug addicts. That's 2 less alcoholics. That's 2 less people. We were good.
Yeah.
We were in the like Coroner, that thrash metal. Yeah. Coroner,
cool. Yeah.
Like a thrash metal motor. What's that really good 3-piece band? Oh shit, they're from Mexico. God dang it. I can't think of their name. 3-piece band. You know them?
I'm not sure. From Mexico?
I can't think of them, but
what, thrash? Definitely. Yeah.
It was thrash.
Okay.
I can't. Oh man. So get a load of this. The guy in Germany wants a second album. It's 1989. He wants to do a follow-up. He sold like 4,000 of the albums, and he pays us. He pays us $3,000. He wants a follow-up, and we give him the Shock the World. And when he heard it, he was not happy.
Okay, what was different then between the 2 albums?
We didn't have the singer. We didn't have Rick.
Right.
We didn't have the singer, and we wanted to be more thrash metal. And I told Rob, be like Tom Araya playing the bass. Be like James Hetfield. And his bass playing, he was probably, Graham, the best bass player in Portland, Oregon at the time. But his singing was not good. And the guy in Germany did not like it. He said, "What is this? What happened to the singer?" And I'm like, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, Roger, I'm just going to release it. I don't know what happened to your singer." That was the last time I heard from him. So he released the record. Oh man.
So what was the first style like, or the first album compared to the second album? Was it you went a lot more thrash? Like, did you change the style completely for the second album? Is that what, as well as having a different singer, is that what didn't gel for him?
Yeah. The second record, I don't know. You got some good songs, you got some lame songs. The singing, I'm my own worst critic. Drummer Dave sang 2 of the songs, and then Rob sang 6. I think the guitar work, the production is great. But you know what? Back then, it was terrible. But 30 years later, I listened to Shock the World. It took 30 years later. The singing it doesn't sound that bad now, but it sounded bad back then.
Right. Well, at the time, you obviously thought it was sounded all right because you put it out. So obviously, that was the style you were going for. You were going for like a more heads down kind of thrashing kind of sound, and it sounded good to you then. So
yeah. It's amazing. What's really amazing, all these years later, I go into the band like Arachnid, then I get into a death metal band.
Oh, you're frozen again. Oh dear. We have another frozen situation in mid-sentence.
This connection. So,
yeah.
And then let's fast forward. I played music in these other bands. They got little record deals. That's cool. They all came later. Storm Spell Records, I got to say, they found me in 2009.
Right.
I stayed. My point was, I wasn't going to let my friends down in X-Center. So all these years later, these years later,
is that X-Sinner?
Yes.
Oh wow! So was that a re-release of stuff that you recorded way back before the accident and the guys died?
Yes.
Wow.
We did a little $300 dumper, 8-track studio. Here's the album. Anyways, one of the songs comes out in a compilation record in Seattle, and just the history, all this started, I was playing music. I got all these albums and crap over here. Anyways, Jordan, I got to say, man, Storm Spell Records, that guy he took care of us. He signed 3 of the bands, paid us. I'll tell you, he's better than some of the others. Some of the others, they give you 20 CDs, 15 albums. They release 500. I mean, how far do you go with 500 albums? It's just a novelty. But he took care of us. When X-Sinner comes out, doors open. He took care of us, man. 1,000 CDs, paid us. It comes out. Then Unseen Forces wants to do albums, and they do the white vinyl. And I tell you, Graham, I had tears in my eyes for 2 days. I knew in my soul, my friends are happy. My friends are happy.
That's so cool. So it's a shame they never got to see
I am
him.
so proud. God, I can't get it. Left and right, and the album's upside down. And I tell you what, man, it's a thick. I am so happy. The families, the brothers and sisters, I'm praised. The album comes out. Sean and Tony's music. Okay. But the Cruella, okay, we did our thing. But my point is then I make a connection. I shop the guy, the Arachnid, and that's a whole nother story. I put that, I had a hand on putting that band on the map. We did a CD in 1990. Nobody knew what they were doing. I said, listen to me. I got record. I got a guy in Germany that'll sign us. But you know what it was? The music was great, but Paul is a Creator ripoff. He sounds like Millie Petroza.
Oh, yeah.
So all these years later, I shop him the CD. He signs it. The band would have been forgotten. So Arachnid comes out of the closet.
Oh, we've lost the connection again. Well, I want to ask questions, but it's just kind of like free form. It's like free form. Let Roger
This is terrible, man.
Oh, you go. You're back. Let's can we let's do a bit of questions, because you're kind of free forming and we're not sort of kind of getting much information, like, because you're free forming like all over the place a little bit. So let's concentrate on Cruella to start off with. So you did the 2 releases, and after the second release, the guy wasn't happy with it, and you never heard from them again. Did you split up after that? Did you actually have a formal splitting up of Cruella?
I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I can't hear you.
Oh, right, okay. So I just want to know, did you split up? Did Cruella actually split up in 1990?
Oh, yeah. We split up in 1990.
Why was that? Was you had enough of it, or you just because the record wasn't popular with the new label, the label, or?
Actually, drummer Dave said, Raj, man, I've been in this band because of you. You have so much enthusiasm and inspiration. Dave said he quit after the Shock the World. So there was no band.
Right.
And then I got into another band. But then when the Shock the World come out later, I think 91 or 90. Well, no, it came out in 1990. I got Charles, and then Rob, Charles, and I, we became the 3-piece, like Coroner. And then we took the best songs off Vengeance Is Mine. Okay, we took the best songs there. I got the Shock the World, and we take the best songs off this.
Yeah.
And we become this killer thrash metal. We took the best songs, and then we were writing new songs, and we were playing shows. We were good. God, the 3 of us were good. And Rob was singing, his bass playing, and Charles, I was doing backup vocals, my guitar playing. We were gelling. And then the big Seattle grunge scene fucked it all up. One guy, and I'm going to say his name, and I hope nobody gets mad. One guy fucked up heavy metal. His name was Kurt Go Bang. Get it? Take the shotgun and go bang. Sorry, Kurt. He fucked it up. And the Seattle grunge scene, Seattle's 160 miles north, and heavy metal went away. Imagine that.
I've no idea why, because grunge was shit. I hated grunge. I couldn't stand grunge. I thought it was rubbish.
Well, I agree. And all the heavy metal bands were derailed. The only bands, Graham, that were rolling were established. And back in 92, Pantera and Sepultura were on the rise. And then you had all those death metal bands flooding out of Florida.
Yeah.
There were so many death metal bands. And then, of course, Judas Priest and Ozzy were always popular. But people like Cruella and all these other hungry metal bands, we got flushed. We got swept under the rug. So, Kurt Go Bang, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's the fickleness. That's the fickleness of the music loving populace, though, isn't it? You know, the fans are fickle. They go to new things. You know, they fucking go to different styles. You know, when as soon as a drop of a hat kind of thing. But yeah, I was always like stuck to the same sort of music. I never fucking ventured on. But I liked all the different styles of metal, but I never went on to like fucking, you know, just cheesy fucking grunge and new metal and fucking hardcore and deathcore, whatever. Yeah, I always like metal all the way, really.
Yeah. You know, I hear you, man. You know.
Yeah. But you kind of joined the death metal, didn't you?
When we broke up, I had a 12-year run. From the time I was 20 to 32, in 92, in that spectrum, I had X-Sinner, Cruella, and Arachnid. But at the time, Cruella got signed back when we were a band. X-Sinner had Tragedy, and Arachnid did not get signed back then because the guy in Germany passed on us. Yeah. But all these years later, so I go full circle. The 90s, I play my, you know, and the 90s are a blur. And then the late 90s, early 2000, I get into the death metal band Bunk Doe. Yeah. And I'm playing with young kids. I'm 40 years old, Graham. These guys are 23, 24 years old. I become the player, the teacher, the coach, the drug counselor, the probation officer, the big brother, the dad. These guys partied. These guys, Rob and James, they were going to the Milwaukee Metal Fest there in Green Bay, Wisconsin in 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002. They were bringing all these death metal albums, and we get this dumper deal in Dark Angel Records in Thailand. They live in caves there. They were listening to cassette tapes. They were still in the 70s. But all these years later, the Cruella reissue, 3 years ago. Yeah. And it opens the door. You know, here's the 30th anniversary. Yeah. Same music, different artwork. I come back.
How did that happen? How did that happen that you got together again? How did it happen that Cruella reformed after 30 years? I mean, how does something like that come about?
This Northwest Metalworks, I knew James Beach. He was a Cruella fan 34 years ago. And he had a love for, he lives in Washington. He has a love for 80s heavy metal. He's a true hardcore heavy metal guy like us. Yeah. And he wants to do the Cruella album all these years later. Yeah. See, look at the difference of the two.
Yeah. They're both pretty cool, though.
There's the first one.
Yeah.
And there's the second one. First one, second one.
Yeah.
She's got fire. So he brings us back. And then guess what he does? He has an album release party at a record store in downtown Portland. And I see Rob, bass player Rob, first time in 23 years. Charles shows up, another drummer, Wes Johnson. I'm there. James goes, hey, man, I'm doing my first annual Northwest Metal Fest in Seattle. Do you guys want to play? I'll give you $400. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this shit. I'm rolling my eyes, you know. I'm rolling my eyes, right? Yeah. And these guys are going, yeah, sign me up. Where do you want me to sign?
It's died again. Oh, man. Internet's frozen again. That's the worst thing. We're in the middle of a story now. And I have got a couple of questions from Werewolf on Lunchtime. I'll get to them if Roger comes back at some point. I hope he will. You cut out again just as you was in the middle of that story, mate. You was offered $400 to play a show, and the other guys are all up for it.
Yeah. And we had 5 months to get the record. We were a train wreck. What a joke. I couldn't even play my own riffs. Because I was doing more like the Satriani. I was getting into more fusion-y, jazz, improv. And I looked at James and I said, look, James, man, look what you did. You sucked me back in. I don't want to play with these jackasses. I don't want to do this. He goes, come on, man. So out of good sportsmanship, I'm like, I'll do the gig to promote the album because the album came out. They did 500.
Oh, what? It keeps freezing. Just bear with us, guys. I'm sure it'll pop back again in a minute. It has so far anyway.
We are going in and out. What a roller coaster ride. So I decide, all right, man, I'm going to be a good sport. I'll do the gig. I'll promote the album. We'll get Cruella back together again. And a couple of the members, we lived out of town. It was a train wreck, Graham. It was a train wreck.
But did it go okay? Was it like worse than you thought it was going to be, or was you up for it? Like, was you like, because you say you're playing a different style of music now? Was it hard to get back into playing the old stuff?
I couldn't. I couldn't play my own leads. I couldn't capture the flair because so many years had passed. It took me hours. I got the rhythms. It took me 6 or 7 months. We were terrible. And we did a warm-up gig. I said, look, before we play the Metal Fest, we went to some shithole bar in Medford, Oregon, which is 300 miles away. We played in February 3 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah.
60 people showed up. It was cold. And my strategy paid off. We played this gig. I was scared to death. I didn't know if there was going to be a lynch mob. I didn't know if these people were going to come up and get me and say, you know what, old man, get out of here. But the gig was good. I'm scared to death 30 years later. And then 2 weeks later, we go to Seattle and we played good. The footage of that show is on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
The footage of the show is on YouTube.
I forgot because when I do an interview, I always do a blog post with put the links and stuff. So the link is down below, by the way. If anyone wants to check out Cruella, the link is down below. And on there, I think I put footage from that actual gig because I saw it on YouTube and I bunged it into the blog post. So I did watch that from a few years ago, actually. Yeah. So what happened with the reissue then? Who decided to reissue?
The reissue?
No, it's not the new reissue. The new album. Who decided to write a new album? How did that come about? How did you say from doing one gig to saying let's do some new tracks, some new songs? How did that happen?
Oh, what happened was we played in Seattle, and then we got a gig with remember the hard rock band, the early '80s called Y&T. Yeah. They weren't really heavy metal, but they had hit songs. They had like 6 or 7 albums. This lead singer I had, Jim Harris, got the gig. And we went from the Seattle gig. They paid us $400. And then a week later, we go to Medford, Oregon, because the state of Oregon is huge. You drive 5 miles and you're still in the state of, you drive 5 hours.
Yeah.
And you're still in the state of Oregon. Oregon is huge. So we play a week later with Y&T in front of like 300 people. And we get $400. And then after that gig, we broke up. It was like, we were done.
Yeah.
I was done.
Right.
But I got talked into a new Cruella. So I get a young drummer. I get Kirk back on bass, original guitars, Kirk. I get Tony Prophet, a local great singer, knows all the history of me and Cruella.
Right.
And we write the new songs, and we're gelling, and we do this. I released this.
Yeah.
This took off, and I mailed this to you. You know, Graham?
Yeah.
I want to say thanks when you did your giveaway 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember your giveaway on YouTube?
Yeah.
That was badass. That was so cool. Thank you.
No worries, mate. I loved it because, to be honest, like there's so many bloody bands you can't know them all. And I kind of like when I heard from you, and I think you sent it to me, or I got a track from you. I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I wasn't sure if I'd ever heard it before. And I really loved the album. I thought it was really good. It's like old school bloody metal, like real cool fucking songs. You know what I mean? Stuff stuff that gets you fucking moving, which is like the best kind of metal. You know what I mean? So.
That's what I said. I'm going to have a toast. Graham, there's not many people for me. You're a heavy metal, diehard, you death metal.
Yeah.
Your show is great. You have bands from all over the world, and you're plugged into that Europe and Russia. The podcasts and people in the United States, they stick with bands in the United States, but you reach out, you go farther. You find these bands that are in caves, they're in desolate countries, they're in desolate lands, and these bands are kick ass.
I know, it's amazing. Like metal is so universal. Like there's so many blinking countries. You don't think, oh, they've got a metal scene, and then you discover they've got like tons of bands. Like it's crazy. Like seems like I'm finding bands from different countries every week almost. It's just like unbelievable. Like little kind of African countries that you've never heard of, and like Bangladesh and bloody India and Pakistan. Everywhere's got bands. China got shitloads of bands, and it's just amazing. I played a band from Jamaica the other day. I think like it's just wow.
Those bands from Poland, they're kicking ass. They don't live in caves over there. They're good players. Those guys kick ass. But Graham, you given Cruella and the guys from Castle Black Radio, everybody else, it's one and done. I mail the CDs out of Rampage. I don't got a Rampage CD. I mail these CDs out.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's so many bands. There's so many bands out there that sometimes it's hard to get any kind of like traction from anyone because it's just so many bands. It's like, and so many bands trying to make it that it's like almost impossible to get noticed.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm grateful for my achievements. I never thought I could be in 4 bands at Sinner, Cruella, Arachnid, and Bunk Dope, and look back and be very proud and grateful, to try to inspire. I hope I can inspire some bands now with this interview. I would love to see, man, record a product, believe in yourself, have it. This is what Kate said. This gal right here, man.
Yeah.
This girl right here.
Yeah.
Where she was so freaking cool. Her name was Catherine Wilson. There she is.
Yeah.
And she told me, Graham, she goes, Roger, you got to believe in yourself. You don't come out of the garage and represent yourself as a garage band. You come out of the garage, you have good artwork, do a good demo tape, cassette, have artwork, play like you're for real. Don't lay an egg. She goes, be marketable, sellable product. And I tell you, man, she was a smart woman, and I miss her. And she, I've carried the flag in the battle. I've carried the torch. I've done a lot for the bands I've been in, Graham, just like you in Suffering. A lot of these people, they're one and done. I didn't think I could be in 4 bands, but I am no different in Cruella and these bands. All the chips are in. I'm a dedicated guy. I'm not some guitar shredder. I know my instrument. I know how to compose songs. I know how to be the player, the teacher, the coach, and get people to see the light, thanks to Kate. And I'm going to continue on. You know,
yeah, cool.
I get angry. I'm mad at people right now. I'm mad at some labels today. I don't like being buffooned. I don't like being chicken shitted. And people that are 30 years younger than me, they ain't gonna punk me, man. I'm, you know, they ain't gonna play me as some grandpa guy. Man, look at him. You know, he's wearing a diaper. He's got a colostomy bag. Look at that old man. And I go up there and bunk dope, and they call me Grandpa Death. And these young kids go, God, dude, you're older than my dad, and you're kicking ass. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, that's what it's about. Don't abandon your instrument.
No.
It's highs and lows and peaks and valleys. Don't give up. Finish what you started, man. And always do a product. Get your product out there, man. It's, you know, Graham, you did Suffering. Can you imagine Suffering getting signed to a 3-album deal and the band members cut you out and they won't kick you down an album?
Yeah, that's shit. Does that happen with, who did that happen with? Did that happen with one of your bands?
Yeah, and I'm going to just say, Paul, the Arachnid guys got a little deal out of Greece, Alone Records, and that album is part of my history of my resume of music. That band would have never, ever came out of the closet if it wasn't for me first. And having the connection with Jordan at Storm Spell. And then Paul, whoa, look what I got. Roger got my band signed. Yeah, motherfucker. Why don't you kick me down an album? Give me an album. That's all I have.
You want him to give you a freebie?
Yeah. And I called up Alone Records in Greece 3 weeks ago. I can't pronounce his name. His name has 30 letters in it. Okay? And he goes, no, I'm not kicking you down. He goes, I gave these albums to Paul. I go, he won't hook me up, man. He blocks me on Facebook. And these jackasses, I don't block people on Facebook. If they don't like my heckle and jekyll, they don't like my sick sense of humor, fuck you, man. Go back in the closet. So they won't kick me down. I got cut out of some albums. And you know what? They're on eBay. And my artist friend who did the Cruella records, he did the artwork for Arachnid, and the albums are on eBay, but they're from Greece. They cost like $50. Fuck that. I'm not buying a fucking album for $50.
No. All right, I'm going to go back through some of the questions.
Buy a fucking Cruella album for $50.
All right, I was going to go for some of the questions that some of the people have asked in chat, right? I've got my mate here from Aussie. He wants to know, what band did you hear first that made you want to start a band of your own?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
God, you know, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Judas Priest in the 70s. And you know, Graham, I tell you, man, your country invented heavy metal. I'm going to say England invented heavy metal. You got Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and the band UFO. I mean, the bands are a multitude of the fucking Pink Floyd and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Your country, it's endless. And then you throw Adele and Sam Smith. Yeah, they're not heavy metal. But those artists, Adele and Sam Smith, they're fucking iconic. But
okay. But we're kind of like,
answer his question?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, those are the bands that got you sorted. He also asked if you were ever influenced.
Graham, before I forget, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. I love Budgie. I fucking love Budgie.
Wales, yeah, Welsh band, yeah.
And Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
I would say Black Sabbath is the reason why, because listen to Rampage, listen to the album, the rhythms. I'm not a lead guitar player. It's about rhythms. And you're right, Graham, the Rampage, it kicks ass. It's old school. It's catchy. It has rhythms and very little leads. I love rhythm guitars and drums.
Okay. Have you ever been influenced by Lou Reed or Iggy Pop? Was another question we got.
Lou Reed, Lou Reed's cool. I'm thinking of that song by Lou Reed. Oh shit. She was a he. Take a walk on the wild side. Take a walk on the wild side.
That one.
Yeah. Take a walk on the wild side. He was a she. Lou Reed's cool, man.
Okay, and also you asked about, you recently watched a documentary on Death. I'm assuming it's Death with Chuck Schuldiner now. What did you think of Death?
I had Death Leprosy. He's got those tremolo bar crazed leads. I can't remember his name, the guitar player. And if you listen to the first Cruella album, everybody, the death metal bands from Florida were doing the tremolo bar crazed shit. But Paul in Arachnid, he loved death and spiritual healing. I saw Death. I saw Death in Portland. They were great. He pioneered. I tip my hat to the band Death. That guy, Chuck Schuldiner, anyways, that guy pioneered death metal. I like the band. I like the band.
Let's talk about the album Rampage. How did that come about? How did the writing process go? Was you getting together a lot and like jamming a lot for it?
Well, I was writing the songs, and I did the new Cruella after the old Cruella we played in Seattle.
Yeah,
the train wreck version. And I got Tony, Kirk, and Caleb, and myself.
Did you write all the songs?
We started writing, and I knew I was on to something. I knew I says I gotta get the new album out. I wanted to get the monkey off my back. I didn't want to talk about the first two, and I thought 30 years later the release, the anniversary release of Vengeance is Mine. I tell you, the timing was right. The timing is right. We wrote those songs, but I'll tell you, Graham, I'll be honest with you. I haven't told too many people. The two songs, Burnt and Domestic Violence, Graham, I'll mail you, they're on this tape.
Oh, right. The
dope
it was. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, we're not. I wasn't tuned to C sharp. I was tuned to E flat, and we don't have a guttural singer.
Right.
And Tony did a brilliant job, but I was searching for songs, and I pulled.
Your demo for the death metal band.
Burnt is called Decordicate.
Right.
Domestic Violence, and we kind of changed the style, but fuck, man, I wrote the music. I wrote it.
Why not adapt it to another band? Why not?
Dude, it's like Dio and Black Sabbath and Ozzy. Songs get revisited, revised.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, exactly. If you wrote it in the first place, then why not?
You know, Graham, you know what I'm hoping for? If I'm still alive and more years go down and somebody reissues this on vinyl,
Yeah.
This would be so badass.
Yeah, it'd be
If
nice.
we could get this on record.
Have you considered like maybe a crowd fund or something like that? My Apex was saying, have you considered doing a crowd fund for an album? There's so many sort of things you can do online now to sort of like promote stuff and get money to help put stuff out. Like a crowdfund is one of them where people put money in until if you reach the target, then you can do like a vinyl kind of reissue.
Well, I got the money, but it's always fun when a label does it. When a label does it, it's more novelty. It's such a great vibe and a novelty when a label does it. And Andre Portugal, Lost Rome Records, he wants to do Shock the World. He wants to do this one.
Okay. On vinyl.
He wants to do the album.
Cool.
But he's mad at me. I got all fucked up and I sent him some heckling emails. I don't want to.
Too much tequila, mate. Was it too much tequila?
Graham, you call me up. I'll tell you what I said. You'll laugh for a half an hour. And I'm trying to schmooze him. You know, Andre, and let me just say, Andre, do the album. Just
go for it.
I'm a sick bastard. Come on, don't be mad. I had a little bit of heckle and jekyll. I made some comments.
Yeah.
Just do the album. It's all cool, dude. You know, the album ain't about me. It's about the history of the band and Dave Vall and Kate Fate. These people have passed away.
Right.
And do the album, Andre. Don't be mad. Take a little bit of joking. It ain't personal, man. Do the record. You don't even have to pay me $400. You just give me 20 albums, Andre. You hear that? Give me 20 albums. You keep the money. I don't need the money. I'll just buy dope and booze and alcohol.
Cool. Oh man! So, is there like any plans for doing like a new release? Are you writing new stuff at the moment? I mean, it's impossible with the bloody COVID. But have you been doing anything new recently, or trying to?
The COVID ruined it last year, but I'm not doing shit. I'm playing. I practice. I got my guitar here. Here.
All right, cool. All right, I've got
this guitar for 34 years.
Wow!
Look at that skull.
Yeah.
Look at the artist who did the Arachnid and the first two Cruellas. He airbrushed that burning skull.
Cool.
But anyways, I don't know. My point is,
Roger.
You know what I'm doing? I'm not writing. There won't be a Cruella album.
Right.
I live far away from the guys, and I will say I miss Tony, Kirk, and Caleb. They live 100 miles away. It's a grueling, agonizing, Graham. 2.5 hour drive.
I've busted to go a piss actually. So can you just give us some? I'm going to put you on full screen. Can you give us some like a live gig stories while I quickly have a piss?
You want a live gig story?
Yeah, tell us about some gigs, some live stories, some gigs.
Oh fuck! God, we played a Cruella gig 32 years ago, and there was about 50 people lined up, and we sold the albums, and I was signing records, and people loved it, and it was such a good feeling. When you're not a big band, and you're a local good band, and you're on the cusp, you're trying to break out of your hometown. But when you play some gigs in Washington, and people, you know, they like your music and they speak and they say, God, you're original. Your guitar playing is unique. You know, it really makes you happy. You're in awe. You just can't say enough when you get such great feedback. But the stories, you know, oh shit, I do have a story. Are you guys there? My effect unit fried on stage in front of 200 people. My effect unit went out, and I was scared out of my mind. I went from heavy metal to a country western sound. It was terrible. I was scared stiff, and one of the other bands was a friend of mine. The guitar player ran out with his effect unit, and he hooked it up real quick, and the show went on, and I tell you, I laid an egg. He saved my ass. I was scared to death. That was the worst experience ever. Out of all the gigs, was when my effect unit fried in front of 200 people. God, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there, and my sound went to shit. And everybody, you know, I mean, now I would have got the mic and started telling jokes. But 34 years ago, I turned into a statue. But my friend Jim, thank you, Jim. Jim passed away. He loved Cruella. I mean, back in the day, Graham, I inspired so many people. And I was so grateful to inspire people. You know, I can't, when I look back, I'm just so grateful to think that here in Oregon, you know, people looked up to me. I was always a nice guy. I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative. But, you know,
talking about
wait, I gotta go. I answered your question. Thank you for that question there.
I was going to say, because when I posted them around on Facebook, a guy called Gary Weber, he says, Oregon City old school. He says, tell him that Gary fucking Weber remembers, he says. Do you remember him, Gary Weber?
Gary Weber is a great guy. He's local here. He's a singer. He plays in some great death metal bands. He knows my history.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He knows bunk dope. Gary, right on, man. Gary's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a diehard local guy here. He's old school. He's like us, Graham. He's like us. He's on the team.
Yeah, cool. What's your best ever gig experience? Your best ever gig memory?
Well, bunk dope. You know, we played with Deicide, and we gave Glenn Benton. We played with Deicide at a small club.
Yeah,
that was good. But as much as I hate to say it, the Arachnid gig, I'll put that. Shit. Cruella played the Medford Armory. You're going to love this. It was December 20th, 1986. Yeah. We played the Medford Armory in front of like 800 people. And we sold like 40 cassette tapes. You fucking me. Cassette tapes. I burn them. I throw them in there. I flush them down the toilet. But we sold 30 tapes. We got paid $500, and people loved us. And you know what's funny? the same night, 86, Metallica was playing up in Seattle, December 20th, up north, and we all went to the Cruella gig in Medford, Oregon, and everybody else drove up to Seattle 160 miles to see Metallica. They were still doing Ride the Lightning because I don't think Master of Puppets No, actually, I think Master of Puppets was out in late '86. But anyways, the gig in Medford was awesome. It was really, really good gig there in front of about 700 people.
Oh,
It
cool.
was epic.
That's cool. I've got a mate called Apex in the chat. He does some artwork. He says he'd be happy to draw some Cruella art someday. So maybe when you get a new album out, maybe you could get in touch with him about doing some art for it.
What's his name?
Apex Comics. He's one of the channels on YouTube. He's one of my friends on YouTube. He does artwork. So maybe he can do some art for you sometime.
Well, I'll tell you, if he could hear me, I would love a demon. Ugly. She's got the body, the boobs. She's coming out of the grave, and she's got a demon head, and she's sick, and her eyes are huge. And it's a graveyard scene, and she's tearing hearts out of bodies. I love that kind of shit. I love that shit.
Yeah. Well, one question is highly doubtful. Did you ever meet AC/DC? I think they'd be traveling in more austere circles than underground bands.
AC/DC? I saw on fucking AC/DC's great. I mean, I saw them in 1978 with Bon Scott, and it was the live album, Live Blood, if you got it. And I got to go to the gig last minute because some girl got backstage to meet. It was AC/DC and Aerosmith headline, Graham. They sucked. Aerosmith was so bad. And it was that fucking piece of shit Sgt. Pepper. Had Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees. I mean, what the fuck? It was the soundtrack to that movie, and Aerosmith was horrible. And AC/DC, I have never in my freaking life heard a band. They were crystal clear. And it was the live album with Bon Scott, and they carried Angus on the backs of the roadies. They went down the main floor of the Portland Coliseum. I thought the ceiling was going to cave in. I never, besides Pink Floyd, I saw Pink Floyd in Seattle in '88, but AC/DC, they're cool. You got to realize, I grew up in the '70s. I'm wearing a Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
See that, bro?
Yeah.
I started playing guitar when I heard Jimi Hendrix, but I love the Beatles. I used to beat on my pillows playing the drums, wanting to be Ringo Starr. But I heard Jimi Hendrix and I heard the tremolo bar. So when you listen to the Cruella Vengeance Is Mine, you're going to hear tremolo crazed riffs, correct?
Right. Another left field question. If you could do any soundtrack to any movie, what would it be?
Oh, soundtrack?
Yeah, if you could do a soundtrack to a movie. And Tony Prophet says, I was there. That was my first concert.
Fuck, that's a good question. You got me on that one. You got me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about, because we're coming up. We've gone over an hour now. I normally go for about an hour. I mean, who writes the lyrics to Cruella's stuff? Are you the lyric writer as well? What do you sing about of your lyrics?
Oh, Rick wrote great lyrics. Bat's breath and demons and broken bones. Rick wrote, about face. Rick wrote most of the lyrics. Kate wrote lyrics in Time Beyond Belief. The lyrics that Rick wrote are excellent. But I'll tell you, Rob wrote great lyrics on Shock the World, but the singing was terrible. But I'll tell you, Kirk and Tony on the Rampage on the Metal Revenge Rampage. I don't know why they wrote. I tip my hat to Tony and Kirk. Those guys were. I couldn't believe it, Graham. And thanks for that comment. I didn't know what to expect out of these guys. Tony and Kirk clicked. I'm telling you, man. It was beauty. It was beauty. Tony and Kirk wrote lyrics like the foot that fit the golden slipper. And I tip my head. I don't write lyrics. I wrote lyrics to some CD. My lyrics are fucked up. I have written lyrics, but not Cruella songs. But Tony and Kirk wrote excellent lyrics on Cruella Rampage. Those guys, I miss those guys. I tell you, Graham, I miss those guys. I miss the laughter. We laugh. We're sick, guys. You would love it. We say some of the most fucked up shit, and we laugh and we play good. And I tell you, I miss those guys. So I hope I answered your question there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know it's impossible to fucking make any plans at the moment with the fucking corona, but I mean, have you got any plans for Cruella? Any sort of solid plans for the future?
Graham, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't see the Cruella. It would be a divine. I don't see. We don't have a rehearsal spot, and there's no demand. But if there's a demand, if there's a demand, I'm excited. I'm very enthusiastic. I get excited. I'm on a mission. But until there's an assignment, until there's a mission, but right now, I'm doing this. I'm getting band ready. And I'll tell you, Graham, if you didn't live so far away, suffering and bunk dope, we can do a kick-ass gig, bro. You suffering and bunk dope. But we're talking about Cruella, and I get it. There's no plans. There's all I want to do right now, bro. I got about 30 of the Rampage CDs. I want to do some more giveaways. I'm going to put together a box for you. I'm going to send you some of the shells and agates I showed you, and I'll send you some CDs, and I'll be a cool guy. I'll put some cash in there for you and Elric. You tell him you guys can drink beer for the next 6 months on your beer drinking show, and you get me on the show. I'll drink beer with you guys. I'm going to send you a box, Graham. So you be ready. But I got some more Cruella CDs to give away, and I don't care what you fucking do with. You can make drink coasters out of them, bro. I don't give a shit if you throw them up in the air and blast them with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Okay. Well, can we do a giveaway on this?
I take that back.
No.
I take that back. But I'm going to send you some CDs, and this will be the last CDs, bro, and I'm going to send them to you. Nobody else, everybody else gets a sausage. I'm sorry. That's just one of my jokes.
Caleb Davies Drum says, good to see your silly ass face, Roger.
What's that?
So Caleb Davies Drums is just left a comment saying, good to see your silly ass face, Roger.
Caleb is God. I want to claim him. You know, he is such a good drummer. He's a young man. He is so dedicated. I put him on my will. You know, Caleb, you need to come here and visit Elizabeth and I. Caleb is such, he had I tell you, him and I, there wouldn't be the Cruella Rampage. I realized Tony and Kirk were like the cherry and the icing, but Caleb and I were the foundation of what became Rampage. And He is such a gifted, talented young man, Graham. This guy is, I could go on for days. He is such a great drummer, and he plays in death metal bands. He's ready to tour. He can get behind any fucking band and hit the road and go. Not me. I'm too old. And Caleb, I miss you. You need to come and visit Elizabeth and I. You need to come down here. And you know what, Graham? If you put together, what's that, GoFundMe?
Yeah.
Put together a GoFundMe. If you, my offer, you ever come out here, you want to get away from England, I'll pick you up at the airport. I swear to God, you come here, Elizabeth and I'm not fooling around. You want to get away, you come here. You probably may not want to leave, but I bring you to Portland. You could sing some guttural stuff in Bunto. But Graham, it's just Elizabeth and I. You want to get away and you want to have fun. You scrape up a round trip airfare, and I will take care of the rest. So you think about that. I'm not fucking around.
I'm not sure my liver could take it, mate. I'm not sure my liver could take it.
But you have been very supportive, and just to show how good you are, you know, you see my sense of humor over the last years. You're cool with it, but all these other plastic chumps, I'm deleted, I'm blocked, I get thumbs down. But you and the Castle Black radio crew, bro, Bob and Jay and Metal Mom, they have supported the band. They play the songs, they play the music, and so do you. And there's very few of you that are a cut above the rest. You got all these people here, and you got these people here. And there's a big difference between being a penthouse centerfold girl and a large girl. I'm sorry, don't take offense.
I like the idea of being a penthouse centerfold girl. Thanks for that image.
Yeah, you are penthouse centerfold and the guys at Castle Black. But everybody else, they need to get on the exercise bike and they got to shed some weight.
I just picture myself with the staples going through my stomach. You know, the staples when you pull the funnel out, and the staples are always going across their stomachs. So I'm just picturing myself like that on the penthouse centerfold.
You know, Graham, I just want to say I'm grateful, you know, that you reached out to me. I saw that you were, you know, I am. I'm happy. I hope I inspired anybody for years to come that be original, believe in yourself. If the music sounds good and you record it, it's good. If you don't like it, it's not good. Come up with a good name, market yourself. It doesn't cost much. I tell you, Graham, it costs $1,200 for this. That's not very much money. You don't got to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. You just can't be played by the engineer. And I tell you, when I go in these studios and the engineer, I look at him and go, look, man, you ain't going to play me. I'm old enough to be your dad, but the engineer, he'll fuck you. He gets dollar signs in his eyes. But these bands, there's so many good bands. You just market yourself and go from there. You know, just spend $1,500. Don't go any farther than that. You can make a great product off $1,500. But the engineer, he's the stickler. That guy, he will fuck you or he will roll with you. And I've seen some testy moments, and I've done a lot of recordings, Graham. I've probably have done 15 legitimate and demos. But going into the recording studio is like going to school. You're putting money into school. You're learning how to record. You're learning how to create music, and you go in there, and it's an all for one and one for all. Like Raven from England. I love Raven.
Yeah.
I saw Raven. All for one and one for all. That saying is priceless. But these fucking musicians, me for me and me for myself, get the fuck out of here, man. and I know, Graham, you've crossed paths with some chump musicians, and when you cross paths with good musicians like Tony, Kirk, and Caleb, and the list goes on, but there's a few chumps. And there always has to be a chump, because it's never good. You're never going to get it's like good cop and bad cop and the villain, you know. And when you cross paths with a chump, man, it's all you could do to just hit him over the head with a big sausage, and go, bam!
Yeah.
And then we'll change him. He'll be a better player.
Oh, man. Cool? Yeah, possibly. It certainly teach him a lesson, I suppose. Anyway, we've gone like well over the hour now, man. I think I'll have to get you on another time. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, because like I've kind of let you off on a leash, and you've just gone all over the place. Like, I kind of feel we could do a bit more like intricate kind of depth into the band and the history and how you're formed and how the recordings went, where you recorded, that kind of thing. A little bit more kind of structured, but it kind of went free form and wild today, which was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I'm just happy I'm glad you got me on your show, and I want to inspire. I taught some kids. I used to teach guitar lessons, and I touched the lives of 6 kids 20 years ago. I taught a girl, she was playing bass, and I showed her some punk riffs. And 2 of the kids said, God, Roger, I could relate to you more than my teachers and my own kids at school. How come I can relate to you? And I just went, if you're a cut above the rest, if you got the charisma and the desire and the passion to play, and, guitar is all I've ever played. If you can inspire, you can't put a price on that. You can't, and even what you're doing, you're a heavy metal warrior, and fuck, man, you reach out to these bands, you have the passion, and plus you're a musician, and a lot of these fucking podcasts, they're not musicians, so it's a heavy dose of the one-sided coin. But when you could cover the whole spectrum and be a musician and have a radio station like High Speed Hangover, and you got the passion and you reach out, it makes it good. And like I said, heavy metal, and England and you, Graham, I'll tell you, man, your country invented heavy metal. I don't care what anybody else says. Your country invented heavy metal, and some of the fucking best bands in the fucking world. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, Pink Floyd. The only band I can think of in the United States is Van Halen. And Metallica, Slayer, but yeah, come on. Metallica, Van Halen, Slayer. But your country has invented 50 of the most iconic bands in the whole fucking world. So I tell you, Graham, what can you say to that? Nobody can surpass that,
Yeah.
So you guys have always loved Cruella. Fucking, I love it, man.
Well, man, my battery is nearly dying, and also we have to say goodbye for this one. I have to say goodbye for this interview, but hopefully I'll get you on again at some point. I mean, even if you don't get anything new out, we can still maybe do a giveaway or something like that, or we can just. I'm kind of thinking of doing a heavy metal hangout kind of show, maybe on a Friday night, get 5 or 6 people in just to chat about heavy metal, just talk about bands they like, and maybe play a few old demo tracks and stuff like that. If you're ever up for that sometime, maybe you could come on to that.
That's a great idea. I like that, but you invite me with you and Elric, and we'll drink beer, and we'll be sick bastards.
Yeah. And hopefully I've got another mate on that. I will do. And there's I've got another mate on here called Farley's Nerd Cave. He did a good interview the other night with a band called Animosity. I don't know if you ever know them back in the day, but maybe I'll get Farley to come on my channel sometime, and we can do a hangout, heavy metal hangout. That's my plan. Heavy metal hangouts. We play some underground demo tracks, and we talk about metal, because you can't fucking go to the club anymore or go to a gig anymore because of fucking Corona. So maybe we can do some kind of online hangouts and talk about metal and play some underground metal tracks.
Yeah, dude, invite me. My stupid ass phone didn't work. This is Elizabeth's phone, but I'm not doing shit, man. Graham, do it. I'll drink. We could laugh. I want the X-rated version, but I love it. But Graham, I'll be. It'll be a privilege to come aboard and have fun and laugh. Yeah. If we can laugh and have fun, then it's good. And this fucking coronavirus, what a bunch of bullshit.
It's a fucking pain in the ass.
I think I don't know what to think.
You hear so much different
let's
stuff.
Not go there.
Nah.
Graham, man, I'm going to send you a box of some CDs.
Okay,
and I'll
cool.
give you some agates and shells here that I showed you, and I'll give you some more drink, and I'll give you a bump. No, I'll give you a cassette tape.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
And I'll give you nobody else. I'll give you about 5 more Rampage. And don't pass them on. I don't want any more of those reviews.
Send one to Farley's Nerd Cave. Maybe I'll send one to Farley's Nerd Cave. But he does a lot of metal on his channel as well, and he's a good fella. He appreciates good metal. I'm sure he'd love some fucking Cruella. I don't know if he knows Cruella or not. But if you send it to me, I'll send it to him, or maybe he can contact you and you can send it to him straight or something like that.
No. You do it. I'll send you 5, and I'll give you some rocks. And I'll put in something else, and you give them to some people, and
I will do.
And you're gonna get the last batch of these CDs. And I know Tony wants some, and I'm pretty much done with Cruella Rampage, and hopefully Andre in Portugal does the Cruella Shock the World. But I think he's butthurt, and I don't know. He can't take some American sense of humor. He can't take it. Yeah, I'm a sick bastard. Yeah, it's okay. I don't care. I'm a sick bastard, but I'm a good sick bastard. I mean well.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm going to call that a night. Thanks for coming on. It's been great chatting to you.
Graham, let's have a drink. Thank you. I'm such a privilege to have you. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Graham. Cheers, bro.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
And thanks for everyone for tuning in. And check out my podcast tomorrow, High Speed Hangover Podcast. My monthly theme show is going to be tomorrow. And next week, I've got a chat with another metal band. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but make sure you tune in. And thanks to Roger for coming in. And thanks to your missus for passing you your beers and all that. Bye, everyone.